Good morning, students. I'm Afrin Sayed, your social science teacher, and today we'll start with our revision session. That is chapter one: what, where, how, and when. We have already done with this chapter. We have learned this chapter, and today, before our exams, we'll have a revision of our chapter so that we can revise the chapter, we can learn the chapter, and we can perform well in our exams. Okay, so let's start. So the chapter begins with the question of Rashida, whom suddenly read some lines in the newspaper which says that 100 years ago. Now she wondered that can anyone know that what happened so many years ago. So her question is like that who how we came to know about all these things which happened and in history, mm, which uh, which is being written in our history books, and who said about all those happenings of the event, who told and who discussed uh, about things which happened when none of us were born. So here the question, here are some answers to her question. Okay, so the chapter we'll start with what can we know about the past? What are things which are supposed to be known by us, or what are things which can be known to us from past? So here it is said that there are various things like what kind of clothes they wear, how in which type of houses they used to live, whether they were kacha makan, whether there were a pakka makan, so the kind of habitat they used to have, and we can find even about their occupation, that were they hunters or herders, or they farmers or rulers, merchant, priests, craftsperson, artists, musician, and scientists, and all these different sections of the society, living their different styles of life and different and they have the different habitat, different way of living their life. All such things are being discussed here in this chapter. Okay, now where did people live? So how people started living and where they started living to. So here first of all, here it has started with people had lived along the banks of the river for several and 100,000 of years ago. Okay, so people used to live near the rivers, and they used to live over there for years and years. In fact, thousands of years they used to live over there. Okay, and they were skilled with, they were skilled gatherers, they were very good gatherers, they were good collector. Okay, so what they used to do, they used to collect the fruits. And students, look, they as they were a very good gatherer, and they used to collect foods and fruits and everything from the forest. So that means that they were very much they had a very much knowledge about those all those things which were available in the market, as which were available in the forest, because in forest there are all kind of vegetables and all kinds of fruits. Some are edible means some which types of fruits and vegetables which can be consumable, which are not harmful to the human health, which can be consumed by us. Whereas there are some fruits and vegetables which cannot be consumed by us, which are not supposed to be consumed by us. Okay, so because they are poisonous. Okay, so because they used to go in those forests and collect the food for themselves and their family, so they of course have that knowledge that which kind of food they are comfortable with, which kind of food they is edible, and which kind of food is good for the health. All such knowledge have been there with those people. Okay, they also hunt animals. Okay, now we can go towards Suleiman and Kirte hills. Okay, this the life begins near the river Narmada. Now moving towards, we come towards Suleiman Kirte hills. Suleiman Kirte hills to the northwest. Okay, where are Suleiman Kurtar hills? They are towards northwest. So there are some of the areas where women's and men's first began to grow the crops such as wheat and barley. So this now here near the Suleiman Kirtan hills, people started growing the vegetables. And which vegetables they used to grow, students? Mark this. Which vegetables? Wheat and barley. I repeat, they used to grow crops like wheat and barley. That too 8,000 years ago. Okay. Then they started with rearing and taking care of the animals. Okay. Then moving towards the Garo hills to the northeast and Vindhyas in the central India. Now, here the agriculture developed, and this is the place where rice was first grown. So, where was the rice grown for the first time? It was to the north of the Vindhyas. The rice was grown for the first time to the north of Vindhyas. Okay, remember, students, rice was first grown to the north of the Vindhyas. Okay, now gradually we come towards the Indus rivers and its tributaries. The main tributary here will talk about even talk about the Ganga and its tributary, and main tributary of Ganga is Son. Okay, so near the river Indus and its tributaries, there are small rivers that flows into the large. Tributaries are basically those little rivers, those small rivers which flows into larger river. Now, about 4700 years ago, some cities are developed near this rivers. Okay, so near the Indus River, the cities were started developing. Basically, a man has started to civilize. Okay, now about 25 years ago, cities developed on the banks of Ganga and its tributaries too. Okay, now here we'll learn that there was a very near the south of the Ganga, there was a town, there was a place named as Magad, now lying in the state of Bihar, and that was a very huge kingdom, very huge empire, and that was a kingdom of a powerful and set up of large kingdom. Okay, there were various kingdoms were set up in other parts of the country as well. There were various other kingdoms which were set up over there. But Magad was a very huge kingdom. Okay, and if you I have already discussed when I was explaining this chapter that Magad was a place where Chandragupta Maurya has mm, established his kingdom, and this kingdom belongs to Chandragupta Maurya. Okay, and Chanakya was also part of this kingdom. So your Magad was indeed a very huge kingdom, and it was set up near the river Ganga. Now people started traveling in towards one place to another with different and they have the different reasons to travel. Some used to travel for their occupation. Some used to travel because they had that kind of thing that they don't stick or they don't stay at one place. They used to go from one place to another. Okay, and sometimes they have to leave the place due to problems like natural calamities, because of the natural calamities like floods and droughts, they have to leave their places and they have to go some another place. Okay, now here we can see that there were many man and armies also traveling to one place to another, and there were the people who have that adventurous that they want to have some tufani kind of feeling. When I was explaining this chapter, I said that there are people who used to travel or who are traveling in the lure of having adventure, in the lure of exploring something new. So there were even people who used to explore and who used to go from one place to another place is to explore the new places. Okay, now why do people travel nowadays? This was the question. So there are hills, mountains, and seas from the natural frontiers of the subcontinent. While it was difficult to cross these frontiers, those who wanted could did scale the mountains and cross the seas. People from across the frontiers also came into subcontinent and settled here. So the people who are living near to those mountains and hills can and naturally visit whenever they want. But there were people who were across it, and they also came and settled near it so that they can enjoy the presence of mm, presence of nature, and they can enjoy into the lap of nature. Okay, now this movement of people enriched our culture and tradition, and people have shared new ways of carving stones and composing music and cooking food. No, so now gradually more and more. Now, how name India? How came our land? India was named as. Okay, so there were two of the words we often use for our country, that is India and Bharat. And India came from the word Indus, that is called Sindhu in Sanskrit. Indus basically means Sindhu in Sanskrit. Now, Iran and Greece, Iranians and Greek people came to India, and they first came to Indus. Okay, and they were well known to the people, Hindus and Indos, and uh, then they land to the east of the river. They called as India, and the word Bharat came from the word. It is basically mentioned in Rig Veda, the earliest composition in Sanskrit. So here the word Bharat is being mentioned in the word in the composition of Rig Veda. So the word Bharat came from Vedas. Okay, and Iranians and Greeks gave the name India. So from there, the word India began to be used. Now, look, students, we are all getting information about past, and we are knowing about the past, and we are discussing about the past. So here the question arises that why, how we came to know about those past. So there are some manuscripts. Manuscripts are basically a handwritten thing, which are basically written on they were written on the palm leaf. Okay, so as we have already discussed that manuscripts are written on the palm leaves in the earliest time, whereas Manumans hand. Okay, and it is a Latin word. Now, it was written on the palm leaf, especially on the barks of the tree known as birch, okay, which used to be grown in the Himalayas. Many manuscripts were eaten by insects and have been destroyed due to the natural calamities or natural things. But some of them have been preserved and been used to us, and many of them have been studied by us, and through that we have come to know about the past. Now these books have all kinds of subjects like religious beliefs and practice and administrative things, like whatever it used to be. Okay. Beside this, the epics, poems, plays, and everything is mentioned. And yes, many of these were written in Sanskrit, others were in Prakrit. Okay. So manuscripts were written in Sanskrit, and other manuscripts were written in the language known as Prakrit, and Prakrit was a language which was used by ordinary people. Okay, so basically Prakrit was a language which was used by ordinary people. And Tamil. We can also study inscription. These are writings on relatively hard surfaces. Okay, so the writings which are found on the hard surfaces are known as inscription. Hard surfaces like metals and stones. So all such writings which are done on metals and stones are known as inscriptions. Okay, then there were some kings who got their orders inscribed on that, so that people come to know about it. And basically kings and queens use those inscription things. Okay, this was not used by the ordinary people because they were not literate. They don't know how to record it, and how they don't know how to present it, and that was the reason that they were not using in inscription. Who are not using the inscription? Of course, the common people were not using those kind of inscription. Okay, now here then even there are people known as archaeologists. Okay, those who study about objects of past are called archaeologists. Okay, so those who studies these objects are called archaeologists. Things which are related to past, and all those past things are being studied by the archaeologists. They use they used to study stones and bricks and paintings and sculptures. What they used to do, they dig the soil, and they dig the soil so much, and from deep inside the soil they get some things like ornaments, or maybe pots and pans and metallic objects and everything. Okay, which some years ago I got uh, got inside the soil. So when they dig those soil and they get all such things, and they study it, and they have research on it, and they have their research centers, and they have few things which help them to identify that how many years old is it is, and all such things help them to know about how old are they, and from where they got all such things. So all such things help them to know um, about the past, that is archaeologists. Okay. Archaeologists also find some bones of animals and birds and fish, which and because of that we come to know about those fish and animals, that there exists some kind of animals and creatures which are extinct now, but their existence of life have been recorded some years back. Okay, so there are historians and scholars who study the past, and have they have various source of information where, like they get some information about from manuscripts, and some information they collect from the inscriptions and archaeology and all such sources. Okay, and once such sources are found, and learning about the past become an adventure as we reconstruct it bit by bit. So historians and archaeologists are like detectives who come who gathers the information about the past. Okay, so students, we got a revision about how that what can we know about the past, what are the things which should be known about the past, which should be known uh, about the past, and from where does the life begin. We got to know that the life begins near the bank of river Narmada, and there were many other rivers where people used to settle their lives, and they during that time, thousand years ago, people used to hunt, and they used to gather their food from the forest. Then we learned about Suleiman and Kirthar hills. That Suleiman and Kirthar hills are the hills where basically agriculture started, and wheat and barley started to grow. Then we learned about Garo and Vindhyas hill, and Vindhyas is a place where rice was grown for the first time. Then we learned that about Indus and its tributaries. We learned about Ganga and its tributaries, and its main tributary, that is Son. Then we came to know about that why people travel from one place to another. We got to know that how our land India was named as India and Bharat. Then we got to know that how are we able to collect the information from the past. How are we so easily getting known about several things about the past. Now, here the question is that whether we have the one past or many past. So, the here our chapter itself says it's a plural form, that is past. That means that we don't have a single past. We have many past. For example, here it is given that there were herders and farmers, and there were kings and queens, and there were craftsperson. That means basically we have the different society. We have different group of people living on the land, and it is not today that we are divided into different sections and societies, but it was a long back when people have been divided as per their occupation and their caste and culture and religion and all such things. And we already studied about all the diversities in the chapter unity and diversity in India. Okay, so all such things and all such differentiation is not a story of today, but it is a story which has been written of years and years ago. And we got to know that today most of the people live in Andaman Islands and get their own foods by fishing and hunting and collecting the forest products. Okay, whereas we as a humans, we as a people who live in near the city side, and we live in the towns, what are we doing? We are collecting our food and everything uh, from markets and nearby, nearby, maybe near shops and grocery stores and everywhere. Okay, we don't have our own forest. We don't have our own farms where we grow vegetables. Besides, there is another kind of difference that we know a great deal about the kings and battles they fought because they kept record of their victories. Generally, ordinary people such as hunters, fishing, pork gatherers, farmers, or herders did not keep records of what they did. While archaeology helps us to find out about their lives, there is much that remains unknown. Yes, of course, as kings and queens and everyone who belongs to the royal families, of course, they have the records of their doings. Of course, they used to record all such things, and they have the people who can record for them. Whereas the ordinary people didn't have such peoples, didn't have such records, and hence there are a lot of things which are not being decoded, which are not being known to us. Okay, now, what does the date means? I have already briefly discussed about the dates in the video, students. That it is basically our years are divided into two parts. That is before the birth of Christ and before after the birth of Christ. Okay. So here the day and month and year 2000 and something. This year are counted from the date generally assigned to the birth of Jesus Christ, and Jesus Christ is the person who is the founder of the Christianity. Okay, BC means before Christ. Is it clear? And this dates are very much clearly discussed in the previous videos where we are learned about the chapter, where we were learning about the chapter. Okay, now we'll move towards the. Now we can have a short revision with our adjectives and pronouns as we are done with our. But okay, I'll have the revision of adjectives and nouns in another video. Today we'll as we have started with the social studies, I'll continue with the social studies, and we'll move forward towards the chapter of uh, the earth. Okay, so we'll move towards the geography. Okay, students, so we'll begin with the revision of our Earth also. We had a revision, we had a really good revision of history chapter 1. Okay, now I hope that all your doubts have been cleared regarding chapter 1, and of course we you have gone through each and every word which is given in chapter 1. And yes, students, I have some instruction which is to be given for your online examination, like students, when you write your exams or when you have your practice test, you might have already learned a lot, and you might have a good practice of having in writing exams online. Okay, students, as we are meeting virtually, we are doing our exams and we are conducting our test virtually. It's very difficult to get in touch with you through computers. Okay, so here when there is MCQs, and it is very much okay that during the MCQs you have to just click on the right answer, and you'll if your answer is correct, you'll get right, and if your answer is wrong, you'll get wrong. Okay, but when there is short answers, when there is mentions of when there is mention of short answer or long answer or whatever is being asked to you, then you'll always find a note near it. You'll always find the instruction like write your answer in capital case or write your answer in small case. Usually you'll always have write your answer in small case. So students, please take care of it. Please write your answers only and only in small case. If you are using any letter of capital case, even though you have written entire answer right, you'll get the answer wrong, as you are writing answer in the capital. Not a single letter should go in capital if there is mention in the question that you have to write the answer in small case. Once the instruction is given that you have to write the answer in the small case, you have to strictly write that answer in the small case. If you are going to write the answer in capital case, it's going to harm you more or less, as you'll get the answer wrong. And other thing is, please take care of your spelling, students. Do not, do not, do not uh, change the spellings of your or do not make the mistakes in your spellings, because if you are making the mistakes in spelling and if you are not writing the correct spelling, then of course the computer system is going to give you wrong. Because even though you might have written the entire answer right, but if your spelling goes wrong, if you are not writing the correct spelling, then it will give you wrong. Okay, so what you have to do is you have to follow the system. You have to write the you have to write correct spellings. You have to write the answers. Look, students, MCQ I am asking from in between the chapter. Okay, for any line in between can be asked as the MCQ. So you have to go through the entire chapter thoroughly. You have to read each and every line, and while explaining the chapter also I am reading each and every line. Okay, so students, for preparing for your exam, you have to go through the lines given in the chapter. But for question and answers, of course I'm not going to ask any question answer which is not given to you, which is not provided to you. Okay, of course I'm going to ask only and only those question and answer whose answer key is being provided to you. So what you have to do, you have to write the answer as it is given in the answer key. Because if you are going to write it on your own, or if you are going to make mistakes in writing the answer, then the computer system is of course not going to accept that thing, and straight away that will be considered as a wrong answer. So please take care of it. Okay, other thing is, please don't hurry. Be patient. Be patient. Read the question at least twice. Read the question at least twice. Of course, if you know the answer, you get excited and you take the answer. But in excitement, sometimes what you do, you take the wrong answer, students, and that takes your mark away. Okay, so please be careful while marking and while writing your exam, while doing your exam. What you have to do is, first of all, enter your name. Okay, correctly. Enter your name correctly. Then give from which class you are, whether it is A, B, C. Okay. Then tell. Then when you start writing, first of all, read the question. If it is multiple choice question, read the question twice. Go through the option. See, analyze, interpret the question, and then click on the correct answer. Then moving forward towards the next second question, again repeat the same question, same process. And if you are asked to write the short answer or long answer, then be very careful with the instruction. Follow the instruction given over there, follow as it is given, and write as it is asked in you in the question. Okay. Rest what I want to discuss is, yes. And after before submitting the form, look, students, once you have submitted the form, you can't open the link again. Okay, once you are done, you are done. You will not get the second chance. But what you have to do is, while you are submitting, go through the question paper again, that you might have missed some question, you might have not attend some question, or maybe you have selected, or because of some technical issue, you might have not the computer has not selected the right option. So go through all this process too. Okay, check whether everything is on point or not, whether you have attended all the questions or not, whether you are whether you have followed all the instructions or not. And only after you are done with all the steps, then click on submit, and now you can able to uh, now you are able to complete the test. Okay. I'm very much happy the way you are performing in your practice test. Okay. Well done, students. Keep doing such things and keep working hard. Okay. Together we can build castles. Okay. But it needs efforts of both of us, mine as well as yours. Okay, so I didn't start. We took the revision of chapter one of history. I didn't start with the geography as I wanted to give some instruction regarding your online examination. I hope I was very much clear to everything. Okay, now we'll have the revision session of chapter one. Thank you so much, students. Have a good day. Stay safe, stay happy, and take care of yourself as well as of your families.